Dating across cultures sounds thrilling, like stepping into a mysterious new world filled with passion and discovery. And for many American women, dating an Iranian man feels like entering a romance unlike anything they've ever experienced. Iranian men are often seen as protective, charismatic, and deeply loyal, and at first that loyalty feels like security. But beneath the charm lies a web of cultural expectations, family influence, and traditions that can transform love into a battlefield of clashing values. Should American women really date Iranian men? That's the question we'll explore today. And before we go deeper, don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment about your own experiences, and share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Because when cultures collide, love is never just love, it's survival. Amanda was a young woman from California. Independent, outspoken, and proud of her freedom, she had built her life on making her own choices. She worked hard, she had her own apartment, and she believed that love should be about equality and respect. She wasn't looking for a man to complete her life, she was looking for someone who would walk beside her as an equal. When she met Reza, a man from Tehran who had moved to the US for graduate school, she was instantly drawn in. Reza was tall, confident, and charming, with a calm presence that made her feel safe. He spoke passionately about his culture, his family, and his dreams. Amanda was fascinated by his confidence, his devotion, and the sense of mystery that seemed to surround him. Their first weeks together felt magical. Reza took her to Persian restaurants, introduced her to new flavors and traditions, told her stories about ancient history and poetry. He treated her with an attentiveness she had rarely experienced before. Amanda was enchanted by his world, and she felt like she was stepping into something new. Something intense, something real. He looked at her with admiration. He called her constantly, and he made her feel like she was the most important person in his life. She told her friends that she had never been treated this way before, that he was different, that maybe this was the kind of love she had always dreamed of. But slowly, Amanda began to notice the other side of his devotion. Reza was protective to the point of control. At first, she thought it was sweet when he asked where she was going or who she was meeting. She told herself it was cultural, that he just cared deeply. But soon the questions became constant. Why was she meeting male colleagues for coffee? Why was she wearing certain outfits? Why didn't she answer his call right away? To Amanda, these questions felt invasive. To Reza, they were normal, even necessary. In his world, a man's role was to watch over the woman he loved, to make sure she was safe and respected. To her, this was suffocating. To him, this was love. The first real clash came when Reza introduced Amanda to his family on a video call. His parents lived in Tehran, but their opinions carried enormous weight in his life. Amanda thought it would be a lighthearted introduction, but it felt more like an interrogation. His mother wanted to know about her family, her upbringing, her views on marriage. His father asked about her career and whether she would consider raising a family in Iran one day. Amanda was stunned. She had only been dating Reza for a short time, and already she was being questioned about her future, as though this relationship was a contract. For Reza, this was normal. Family approval was everything, and no serious relationship could move forward without it. For Amanda, this felt overwhelming, like she had lost control of her own path. The differences didn't stop there. Amanda loved her independence, her ability to go out with friends, to live her life freely. Reza, on the other hand, was uncomfortable with her lifestyle. He didn't understand why she had so many male friends, why she wanted to travel alone, why she didn't check in with him more often. He believed that relationships required loyalty and sacrifice, that if she loved him she would naturally adjust her behavior to show respect. Amanda believed that love meant trust and freedom, that if he loved her he would accept her independence. The more she pushed back, the more he tightened his grip. The more he tightened his grip, the more she felt trapped. Their arguments grew louder and more frequent. Amanda wanted open communication, long discussions where they could work through problems together. Reza wanted peace and obedience, a quiet life where disagreements were minimal and respect was unquestioned. When Amanda confronted him, he grew defensive. When she demanded freedom, he accused her of not respecting his culture. What she saw as honesty, he saw as defiance. What he saw as devotion, she saw as control. They spoke the same words, but their meanings were worlds apart. Amanda began to realize that her relationship with Reza wasn't just about two people, it was about two cultures colliding. The independence and openness she valued clashed with the tradition and family honor he carried. Every day felt like walking a tightrope between love and conflict. She loved him, but she also loved herself. And she wasn't sure if the two could coexist. And yet, despite the tension, the passion between them kept pulling them back together. Every fight ended in reconciliation. Every cold silence ended in warmth. Every tear ended in an embrace. Amanda told herself that maybe this was just part of love, that maybe passion was supposed to be messy. But deep down, she wondered, how long could she keep sacrificing pieces of herself before there was nothing left? This was only the beginning of Amanda and Reza's story. What started as fascination and romance was already turning into a test of patience, freedom, and endurance. The storms of family expectations, jealousy, and control had only just begun. The question was whether Amanda and Reza could find a balance in their collision of worlds, or whether their love was doomed from the start. Amanda kept telling herself that every relationship had its challenges, that maybe what she and Reza were going through was just a phase, a period of adjustment between two different cultures. But as time passed, the weight of those differences grew heavier. What had once felt like an exotic adventure now began to feel like a cage, one where every choice she made was questioned and every step she took was measured against expectations she never agreed to. Family pressure never went away. Reza's parents called frequently, and every conversation with them seemed to remind Amanda that she was not just dating Reza, was being evaluated as a potential wife, a potential daughter-in-law. Questions about marriage, children, and her willingness to embrace tradition came up again and again. Amanda tried to be polite, but each conversation left her feeling more suffocated. She wanted Reza to defend her, to reassure her that their life together would be on their own terms. But instead, he always took his parents' side. He didn't see their questions as pressure, he saw them as love, as family care. Amanda felt trapped between her own values and his loyalty to his family. Jealousy became unbearable. Amanda valued freedom, the ability to meet friends, male or female, without suspicion. But Reza's possessiveness grew sharper with time. He checked her phone, questioned her about where she was, and grew irritated when she didn't respond quickly. To him, this was devotion, proof that he cared. To her it was control. She told him again and again that love without trust wasn't love at all, but he couldn't understand. To him, if he didn't question, if he didn't protect, it meant he didn't care. Their fights about jealousy were explosive, full of accusations and tears. They reconciled, of course, but the wounds from each fight stayed beneath the surface, festering quietly until the next argument brought them back up again. Religion and tradition added even more weight. Reza had grown up in a world where certain behaviors, certain dress codes, certain ways of living were expected. Even though he had been in the US for years, those expectations still shaped him. When Amanda wore certain clothes, he frowned. When she drank with friends, he disapproved. When she spoke freely about sex, relationships, and independence, he grew cold. To him, she was being disrespectful, careless, too free. To her, he was being controlling, judgmental, old-fashioned. They tried to compromise, but every compromise felt like Amanda losing a piece of herself. The arguments about gender roles never ended either. Amanda believed in equality, in shared responsibilities, in building a life together as partners. Reza carried with him the expectation that a man should lead, should provide, and that a woman should prioritize family. At first, Amanda found his protectiveness charming, but over time it felt like a chain around her freedom. He expected her to adapt, to change, to fit into his vision of what a partner should be. She wanted him to accept her as she was, independent and free. The more they pushed, the further apart they grew. Even money, something Amanda thought would be simple, became a source of tension. She wanted to share responsibilities, to split bills, to maintain her independence. Reza insisted on paying, not as a gesture of love but as a duty. But when he paid, he also expected to make decisions. He believed his role as provider gave him authority. Amanda, who had built her life on independence, refused to accept that. What he saw as respect and responsibility, she saw as control and inequality. The cycle of their relationship became predictable. A disagreement would erupt into a fight. The fight would turn into silence. Silence would turn into reconciliation, and reconciliation would turn into passion. Then the cycle would begin again. At first, Amanda thought this passion was proof of love, but over time, the highs felt shorter, and the lows felt unbearable. She began to feel exhausted, drained of the joy she once felt. Every reconciliation was just a pause before the next storm. One evening, after another fight about her independence, Amanda broke down. "I can't live like this," she cried. "I feel like I'm losing myself every day just to make this work. I love you, but love isn't supposed to feel like a prison." Reza's voice was heavy, full of pain. "And I feel like you don't respect me. You don't respect my culture, my family, my values. You want me to be American, but I am not. I cannot change who I am." In that moment, they both realized the truth. Their love was real, but their definitions of love, of respect, of partnership, were too far apart. They tried again, as lovers always do. More promises, more reconciliations, more attempts to compromise. But the cracks were too deep. Amanda couldn't give up her freedom, and Reza couldn't give up his traditions. Each of them wanted love, but love meant something different to each of them, and no amount of passion could rewrite those definitions. Some American women and Iranian men do make it work. They find balance, they compromise, they live in the tension between two worlds. But for most, like Amanda and Reza, the weight of cultural expectations is simply too much. The problem is never the love, it's the collision of two completely different visions of what love should be. So now the question is for you. Would you survive dating an Iranian man? Could you live with the jealousy, the family interference, the expectations of tradition, and the weight of cultural pride? Could you sacrifice your independence for a version of love defined by duty and control? Or would the fire that first drew you in eventually consume you until there was nothing left? Share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and pass this video on to someone who needs to hear it. Because when cultures collide, love is never simple, it's survival.